Hello. Don't worry, I'm not going to wear a medal for every one of these I do, but today's video is a debrief about the triathlon that I have just done 3 days ago on Sunday. For those of you that don't know me, I am Jack Grinley. I am an ex-soldier turned coach, personal trainer, and all-round just kind of challenge seeker. I'm what people would call a hybrid athlete. However, I don't really like that term. I just like going and finding hard things to do and seeing if I can do them. Pretty much most of the time I can. That's not being big-headed. I just believe that we're all capable of doing whatever we set out to do as long as we train for it and prepare for it. You might not be the fastest or the best at it. You are definitely capable of doing it. And that is something I live my life by. And that is something that I try and give, teach, inspire in the people that I work with, and hopefully you watching this video too. So this is going to be the first of many videos that I start posting on YouTube, as this is the first milestone in my journey to something a lot bigger. That we will come to at the end. Today's video, I'm going to be debriefing my first ever Olympic triathlon. What went well, what didn't go so well, what I did in the run up to it, what I would do differently if I was going to do it again, and how that feeds into the next big challenge, which I'll talk about at the end. Before we go any further, I've got to do the really YouTubey thing of asking you to, if at any point you actually like this video, then hit like. That tells me, great, this is actually worthwhile and I'll carry on doing it. If you've got questions though, you want to know stuff, you want to ask me things, stick them in the comments and I will get back to all of them. If you're interested in following me along on this mad journey that I've decided to go on, hit subscribe, hit the little bell. You'll get notifications to tell you that I've put a new video up and you can follow along with me on this journey. So the breakdown of today's video, gonna go through pre-race prep, what I did in the days leading up to it, what I did the night of the event, how I fueled those days before and how I fueled the event, sort of nutrition side of things, how I actually did, go through the numbers and how that shaped up compared to some of the other people that did it, and how it shaped up compared to the sort of goals that I'd set myself. We'll go through what went well, go through what didn't go so well, and if you're interested in doing a triathlon yourself and this is something new to you, some things that as a very new beginner to this sport, things that I would probably do differently if I was starting again, or maybe can help point you in the right direction of things that you might want to consider if it's something very new to you too. So pre-race prep, it's important to note that I trained for about 30 weeks, 32 weeks in total between deciding I'm going to do triathlons, I'm going to give triathlons a go, while managing doing strength and conditioning stuff in the gym, still lifting weights, still training 2-3 times a week, on top of running a business, on top of coaching clients. I decided to add in some triathlon training and learn the 3 disciplines. A little bit of background, when I was younger, I did a lot of cycling. I say a lot, I cycled for a couple of years and got fairly good at it at like 12 or 13 and then haven't touched the bike since. I've always been a shocking swimmer until about 6 months ago when I had to relearn how to swim. And I've previously done a lot of running in the army. Furthest I've ever ran is a half marathon. Done that in just under 2 hours. So I've got a little bit of running experience, but I am by no means a fantastic, natural, skilled runner. And I'm definitely not a natural, skilled athlete in any of the 3 disciplines, or in weightlifting or going to the gym in that matter. I will give everything a go. I might not be the best at it, but I'll do it anyway. So pre-race prep, stayed in a glamping pod in Wales. Going to link that up here. Go and check them out because it was fantastic. If you're going to do the Bala triathlon, that was the one that I did. I've done it with these guys, so Tough Runner, they're up in there. They were fantastic. Stayed in the glamping pod and that was really good. It was really good. It was just a great way of getting there, relaxing, being able to not have to worry about traveling on the day, getting there on time. We were literally walking distance away from where the event was being held, so that was incredibly handy and took a lot of pressure off me on the day for that. Swiping back from that glamping pod, as you can see, it was just a fantastic setup. So I was able to plan food while I was there. I was able to hit the targets that I've set. A couple of things went wrong straight away when I got there. So we got there on Friday and I realised I'd packed everything the night before, Thursday. Arrived on Friday and realised I'd forgot one thing. Now, Friday morning before we left, I went to Decathlon because I needed some like electrolyte tablets and stuff like that to ensure I had everything when we got there, some spare in tubes. And I was actually looking at this really nice race belt that they had there. And I was like, nah, I don't need one, already got one. Get to Bala and I forgot my race belt because I brought a different bag than I was planning on bringing. So I left it. So the really nice race belt I was looking at in Decathlon, I should have bought. And that was obviously a sign from some kind of higher power that I need a race belt. So me, Rach, my partner, had to drive 45 minutes to the nearest running shop. Like, I couldn't settle on Friday until I knew everything was packed. From being in the army, we get taught this phrase, my weapon, my kit, myself, and that's the order in which you prioritise the things that you need to do, and that's always stuck with me. One, my weapon. No longer have a weapon, so my weapon was the bike. So then prep that was good. That was getting brought up by my dad, who was coming up in another car. We didn't have room. There's a giant dog on the floor here. If you follow me on Instagram, links up here somewhere to do that. You'll see him. He takes up a lot of the car, so there was no room for him and the bike. So my dad brought the bike up on the Friday evening and I prepped that Thursday, so I knew that was good. So next, my kit, my weapon, my kit, had to pack my bag, had to pack my race day bag, transition bag, make sure everything was right before I could settle down on Friday. And the race wasn't till Sunday morning, but I needed to do that before I could fully just switch off and relax. Didn't have the race belt, needed to get that done to box off kit prep Friday night to be able to relax my brain. Otherwise it would have just sat niggling me the whole time. So sorted that, got the shop, got done, started to get settled. I could then refocus on aiming for around about a 3-hour event for me. So 3 hours from start to finish, which means I'm going to be on the go for 3 whole hours, which means I'm going to need to be fully loaded up with carbs before I go into the event. And then I'm going to need enough carbs in the form of gels and carb powder in sports bottles to be able to fuel that performance. Without that, would have crashed and burned. For me, that looked like 2 days worth of preloading carbs. I was thinking about doing 3, but decided with 2 in the end because I thought I probably won't. It's only a 3-hour event. It's nothing. It's not a massive endurance. It's not a huge endurance event. It's a middle distance triathlon. If it was an Ironman, I would maybe look at 3 days. And if I had to come off a fat loss phase, if I come off from being in a calorie deficit, then I may have gone 3 days of carb loading. But I've been at maintenance for the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I knew I wasn't really in a shortage of carbs, but just wanted to make sure that I was fully carved up going into it. So I'd done 2 days, and towards the end of the second day, so Saturday afternoon, evening time, began to start feeling really, really full, sick of the sight of anything with carbohydrates in at this point. Was really actually craving like veg and like meat and dairy and things that I was eating very simple carbohydrates. So what my carbs look like over those 2 days was orange juice, simple to get in. There was a lot of rice cakes. There was some fish and rice because I needed a little bit of protein, and I'll show you a carb planner, like a pre, during and post event carbohydrate planner and macronutrient planner that I use on me and I use for our clients within Level 10 Life in order to help them manage fuel themselves through any kind of event, whether that's under 90 minutes or over 90 minutes. Really handy, takes all the thinking out of it for me. I just plug in the numbers and it shows me exactly what I need to do. So that, again, just saving time, saving brain energy to be able to just type it in, done, pops up on the spreadsheet, all done. Who doesn't love a spreadsheet? So kept fat at a bare minimum of 30 grams. We still want 30 grams of fat for bodily function, hormone production, all that kind of stuff, fat absorbing fat soluble vitamins. Needed some level of protein in there, but I'm going to be in a huge calorie surplus for 2 days, so the chance of muscle loss at this point was very unlikely, and so protein could be a lot lower than it would usually be, to one, improve how quickly and I can digest the carbohydrates I'm going to eat, because I was eating a huge amount of carbohydrates, almost a kilogram of carbohydrates on both days. And so that's going to be a huge ask for my digestive system. It's going to be a huge ask for my stomach. And one thing I didn't want to happen was to upset my stomach, to end up going to toilet loads, to feel bloated, to feel like I've got indigestion, because that was going to mean, that's going to be a big warning sign that I'm not digesting the food properly. I'm not digesting the carbs. So the carbs aren't going to where they need to. I'd probably end up just letting them all back out on the toilet, and it would have been a waste of an exercise. It would have been a futile exercise in carb loading, because I'm not actually able to digest them. So the main goal with the diet setup for those 2 days was ensuring I had the best digestion possible, had the least stress possible on me and on my digestive system, which is often quite hard with the big lump that is our puppy on the floor, all 50 kilos of him. It went well. I started to feel really full Saturday evening, to be expected, eating over 4,500 calories both days, when for the last 3 weeks I've been on 3,000, so it was another 1,500 calories almost on top. How did I actually do? So, as I said at the start, I wanted 3 hours or under. That was what I'd gone into. That was what all the training had led me to believe, that I would be able to do at least 3 hours or under. But I got there and I felt good. So I started secretly. I was like, I really want to do this in 2.5. I would like to get close to 2.5. And I didn't really mention that all that much. I was sticking with the conservative 3 hours, but deep down inside, the competitive part of me wanted the 2.5. Showtime, as you can see by the results here, I came 244th out of 484. So slap bang in the middle of the pack. Considering it was my first ever Olympic distance triathlon, I'm fairly pleased with that. I managed to do it in 2 hours and 49 minutes. The correct time will be on the screen right now, both on my watch and the race timing from Tough Runner. Slightly different because I obviously time myself as well. Out of all of the men that entered, I come 199th out of 334. So again, slap bang in that middle third. I'm happy with that. I'm not overly happy with the time, and we'll come to that in a second. Happy that I managed to do under the 3 hours, but I had that little niggle that I know I could have probably done 2 hours 30 if everything had gone perfectly. So what didn't go well? Let's start there. What went well, firstly, is the time. I did under 3 hours, so ticking the box, the goal I set out to do, I'd done it. But as I said, I really wanted to be closer to that 2.5. The top 200 in my first triathlon, yeah, fairly happy with that. There was some really experienced athletes there. The fastest time winner overall of the day was sub 2 hours. And if you compare on the screen here, their time to mine, it's just insane, and we'll go over that a little bit in a second. So what didn't go so well? The main thing where I lost a lot of time was the swim. Everyone I'd spoke to before getting into this had said the swim is chaos. Swim is like a washing machine. The swim's going to be really tough. 6 months ago, I couldn't swim 25 meters. I had a panic attack swimming 25 meters in a pool because I had to put my face underwater. So to be able to now be at a point where I know I can swim way over 1,500 meters in open water, I feel good about that. I felt quite confident getting in the water, wasn't really overthinking it. And then the horn went. And it was chaos. It was way worse than I expected, like way worse. And it's quite hard to tell on that clip how bad it was, but there was just arms and legs and feet everywhere. If you've done one of these triathlons before, if you've done a triathlon before, you know exactly what this is like. So you can then go and tell everyone else who's new to it, like I am now, that it is bad. It is like a washing machine, and It's hard to train for that. The only way to really train for that is to be in these events and be in that environment. Between this and my next big challenge, that is something that I'm definitely going to have to work on. I went into full panic mode, could not control my breathing, could not get into a rhythm with swimming, could not get my heart rate down to stay calm, to relax in the water and to actually swim. So I ended up losing about 9 or 10 minutes off what I was expecting to swim it in, which is quite a big chunk when you think about it. When I was aiming for 2:30, 10 minutes would have got me from 2:49 down to 2:39, and that's only 9 minutes off that 2.5 I was looking for. So it's a big chunk. In the swim, it's a big chunk. My swimming has got a lot of work to do anyway. That level of confidence in the water is a big thing I need to work on. So that is going to be a big focus over the next couple of months. Don't know how I'm going to train for that yet, but when we figure out a way, I'm definitely going to video it because that'll be an interesting one for you to see and potentially put into your own training. Luckily enough, out the water, smashed the bike. Fairly slow transition one, which I wasn't too bothered about. The transitions I'm not overly fussed about when I could shave 10 minutes off my swim by not having a panic attack. So I'm looking at the bigger things first, where I can save the most time before I even worry about how I go through transition. So transitions, I go in nice and relaxed, nice and calm, and they're fairly quick for what I want. I'm happy with the transition times. The first one, about 1:20. The second one, I think, was just over a minute. Going from bike to run, I've literally got to whip a pair of shoes off and put some run trainers on. So that one's not a major issue. I smashed the bike. I feel like I smashed the bike. I'm very happy with the bike. I was aiming for an hour and a half on the bike. That's what I predicted. I've done it in an hour and 9. And I'm really pleased to say that the only people that passed me on the bike course were people on TT and triathlon bikes who were like gunning it, who, you know, they love this stuff, and they were like whoa, 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 past me. I wasn't catching them, and I was fine with that because I was picking people off. And that, for me, nice little ego boost. I feel like I'm going even quicker because I'm passing someone. I knew I was going quick on the bike, and I knew that was going to be my strongest event, so I just went for it. I just absolutely gunned it. Paid off. Knocked 21 minutes off my predicted time for that. So clawed some time back off the swim. The bike shot me in the foot for the run. I got off the bike, and because I've been on the drops, I've been tucked in low for so long. It was a fairly flat course. There wasn't really much out of the saddle like climbing. It was a low down, tucked in ride. Which highlighted another thing, is that I need to go and get my bike fit sorted, because my position on that bike isn't perfect. It's not right, because when I got onto the run, hip flexors cramped up, something terrible. Same with hip adductors. There's a clip here. You can see me running out of T2, hobbling, almost looking like I've had a bit of an accident in my undies. And then stopping against the wall and just being like cramping up, worrying, thought I'd actually pulled something. So the run was slow initially, and a lot of people passed me again. A lot of people passed me on the run. Not good for the ego. I wasn't there to race anyone else. I was there to race myself and to push myself. So I had to keep reminding myself of that. It's very easy to try and race everyone around you when you're in a race, but that I had to remind myself that's not what I was there for. I was there to race me. I was there to push me, to see how hard I could push. So I did. Used my Garmin watch, which is currently on charge, and just watched me pace, and just kept just trying to push it a little bit more and a little bit more. By the time I got to about kilometre 3 on the run, I looked down and I'd gone from running 640 kilometres to 525. And I held 525 and then slowly started to get quicker and quicker each kilometre as I got towards the end of the 10k run, which is fantastic. It's probably one of the best 10k runs I've ever done, not including those first 3 kilometres, but being able to recover from those 3 kilometres and literally just get quicker every kilometre after is a sign that my running is quite strong, but the bike to run transition needs work. I need to get more training in and more repeats of actually doing a long ride and running straight after, which is something I probably haven't done enough of, or push myself to that point of tiredness on the bike before going into a run. So again, something that I need to work on moving forward. Something that I didn't even really consider being an issue because I'd not been in that situation and seen or felt what it was like to be that tired coming off the bike and into the run. So again, a learning curve, something that needs to go into the training. First ever one, not upset about it, not like disappointed by it. Started doing these 4 is to learn, is to give this a go and be like, okay, what do I need to work on? What's the next challenge? What's the next thing I need to get better at? That's what kind of excites me and drives me about this stuff. There's 3 different disciplines, plus the strength and conditioning stuff, plus the weights. Juggling it all, learning about it, trying to figure out how do I actually manage all of this and get better at it at the same time. Really interests me, really excites me. So what's next? What's next for me is what I would regard as a fairly monumental challenge, as my 3rd ever triathlon it will be. I'll do some triathlons in between now and the next one, but this will be my 3rd upon today. It will be officially my 3rd. It'll be the longest triathlon I've done. It'll be essentially number 3. Signing up for the Keltman, which is an extreme triathlon, Ironman distance in Scotland. So I've got between now and the 11th of June to get ready and to get myself in a position to get into the Keltman. Not only get into the Keltman, but get the blue jersey. So there's 2 different jerseys you can win or you can earn within the Keltman. The Keltman is an iron distance extreme triathlon through Scotland. It's a 3.4 kilometre swim in a lovely cold Scottish loch, onto a 200 kilometre bike through 2,200 metres of elevation. So a lot of climbing. And then you finish with a 42 kilometre run over 2 Munros. And a Munro is, you'll see the numbers up here, what it is. So it's over 2 big mountains. For the run portion, I'm allowed to have a pacer, a runner, come along with me to keep me sane and keep me moving. So that is next. I'm going to be filming the journey from now as I prep all the way up to that. I'm still going to be trying to bang gym as much as possible. I don't want to become a skinny muppet in Lycra. As much as I'm going to live in Lycra for the next 6 or 7 months or longer, I don't want to be super skinny. I might not be the biggest guy in the world, but I like the size I am. I like how strong I am. I like lifting weights and going to the gym. It's important to me. I enjoy it. So that is going to be a big part of what I do. So join me on this journey as I manage both and prepare for the Keltman. If you found this video interesting, helpful, inspiring, motivational, anything at all, or you absolutely hated it, leave me a comment, let me know. If you haven't already, like the video. Come on, spent ages making this. Like the video. And if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you don't miss out on the rest of the videos that I post between now all the way up to the Keltman and all the way training through winter and everything. I'm going to do separate videos on like food and how I plan training, how I decide who's going to coach me through this, because that is another big decision I've got to make, is who is going to be my coach, because undertaking something like this requires a coach. It does massively. I couldn't coach myself through this. I could, but I wouldn't be as effective or as efficient, and I wouldn't place as well as I want to without handing that responsibility off to someone else. So that will be covered as well. Thank you for watching if you're still here, and I will see you on the next one.